Hey guys, welcome back to another guide video. Today's video, we're talking about the one and only hammer. And as for always, stuff in Tanki Online changes all the time, so this video might be outdated by the time you're watching it, or maybe in a few years or whatnot. So do take all this information with a grain of salt. Let's begin. Let's talk about what hammer does. It shoots 20 pellets per shot with a particular spread angle. It has a total of 3 shots before it reloads. It is possible to hit multiple enemies with one shot, and hammer is one of those several turrets in Tanki Online that have a special gimmick when it comes to critical hits. When hammer gets a critical hit, an enemy that is hit with a pellet will receive full critical damage. Let's talk hammer range and damage. The minimum effect range, it can be used for close range, so 0 meters. The maximum effect range can vary between 40 and 60 meters. It deals 100% damage between 0 and 40 meters, but then the damage drop off is by 25% between 40 and 50 meters, and it drops again by another 25% between 50 and 60 meters. In total, the damage is 760 damage per shot. Now let's move on to pro tips as a hammer main. Someone that has played hammer for close to 900 hours and has around 1.6 million battle points on it. Here's a few small tips that you want to learn. The first thing you want to get used to is shooting behind walls. Hammer has a somewhat short reload, and the burst damage that it does is quite a lot. So what you want to do is you want to stand behind a wall or a barrier, any barrier in general, and shoot from there to kill enemies. The second thing you want to learn when you're playing with hammer is learning how to HP count. Well, what is HP counting? HP counting basically is when you calculate how much health the enemy has. For example, normal hammer does 760 damage, for example. Now a total of 3 clips should be enough to kill a light hull, so that would be my HP counting in that sense. And finally, learning how to bounce your shots off walls, barriers, or anything that can be bounced off. It's a really important skill to learn, and it doesn't help you all the time, but it is useful when an enemy is camping inside a tunnel or maybe behind a certain wall or building. Let's talk cost to upgrade. Upgrading from MK0 to MK7 costs a total of 397,000 crystals and 33 rubies. It costs an additional 456,000 to go from MK7 level 0 to MK7 level 20. So in total, it costs a total of 853,000 crystals and 33 rubies. At 30% discount, it costs a total of 597,100 crystals, and 50% discount, it costs 426,000 crystals. Let's talk about drones. The best drones you can possibly use for hammer are Defender, Hyperion, Booster, Trickster, and sometimes even Brutus works. Hammer is a very balanced weapon, and you could technically slap on any drone and you'll work. Now moving on, let's talk about best pay-to-win augments and all their alternatives. The best pay-to-win augments are Assault Magazine, Hunter Duplet, Heavy Slugger, Revolver, and Pulsar. Let's first start with Assault Magazine. The main advantage is that your shot reload is decreased by 75%, your clip reload is decreased by 25%, your recoil is also decreased by negative 80%. The main disadvantage is that your critical damage and chance is decreased by 50%. Your pellets per shot is only 10 compared to base hammer, which is 20. And your impact force is also decreased by negative 80%. Now, moving on to Heavy Slugger. The range of the maximum damage is increased by 100%. Range of minimum damage is also increased by 100%. Your highlighting range is 100%. And your horizontal scatter skill is also decreased by 75%. Now for your main disadvantage, your rotational speed and acceleration is decreased by 35%. Next on is Revolver. The main advantage is that it has a total of 6 shots per clip. Every third shot deals critical damage, and the shot reload is decreased by 5%. The main disadvantage is that your entire clip reload is increased by 25%. Next one is Hunter Duplet. The main advantage is that your horizontal angle scatter is decreased by 50%. Range of maximum and minimum damage is increased by 100%. Your highlighting range is also increased by 100%. Time between 2 shots is negative 80%. The main disadvantage is that you're only allowed to shoot 2 shots at a time before a 15% longer reload. And finally, Pulsar. When you do hit a enemy with a critical shot, the following status will apply: Jammer, EMP, Stun, and AP. The main disadvantage is that your critical chance is decreased by 12% and your critical damage is also decreased by 90%. Now for alternative pay-to-win arguments, In my opinion, none of the actual status effect weapon augments are pretty much good, but your only other viable option is adaptive reload, where the main advantage is that after destroying an enemy, it reloads the clip immediately, and the reload time between shots is negative 20%. The main disadvantage is the reload time is increased by 20%. Let's finally talk about the best free-to-play augments for you. The best free-to-play augments to use for hammer are HACAC or high capacity ammo clip, duplicate, and adrenaline. For high capacity ammo clip, the main advantage is that you have 5 shots per clip before you reload, and the main disadvantage is that your clip reload is increased by 20%. For duplicate, your main advantage is that your shot reload is decreased by negative 80%. The main disadvantage is that you only have 2 shots and the clip reload is increased by 25%. And finally, we're talking about adrenaline. So the main advantage is that the critical and regular damage can be increased up to 26%. The main disadvantage is that it's mostly effective when you're lower HP. And last but not least, let's talk about the best hulls for hammer. In my opinion, the best hulls for hammer are all the medium hulls. And if you want to maybe spice things up a bit, you could possibly use Mammoth, but typically you want to go with any medium hull. Light hulls and heavy hulls are viable. You can play with them. No one's stopping you from playing with them. But the best are medium if you want to do really well. And that wraps up my guide for hammer. If you have any questions to ask in the comments down below, I read all of them. As for always, I'll see you guys all in another video. Peace out.